Parts of this episode of Garden Time were recorded before COVID-19 and social distancing requirements.
Judy, what do you think of my sweet music?
Ryan, the only sweet music I want to hear is a new episode of Garden Time.
Welcome to Garden Time. Not only do we have some sweet music, but we're out here at Al's and they have some sweet looking plants.
And remember, if you are shopping at your favorite garden center, be safe and wear a mask.
Coming up on the show today, speaking of sweet, we'll show you how to make some sweet jam.
We'll also be showing you some bonsai and how to get started with them.
But coming up first, art in the garden.
I'm at the Oregon Garden in Silverton for their Art in the Garden Festival, and I'm with artist Judy Kunkel. And Judy, you're a glass artist, which are remarkable pieces here.
Oh, thank you.
And so we have seen you before, we've met you before, and you make these beautiful like paintings in windows, but then you have these very cool stakes and then also something else. So where do you get your inspiration for all this artwork?
My inspiration, nature. I like to be inspired by nature, flowers, plants. I have grape pieces, but just kind of trying to find a place that my art would fit in, and garden art is just where I feel most comfortable.
Oh, fun. And I see that there's a lot of recycled pieces, so that must be fun because it's like a hunt.
Right. It's a challenge, and I find different pieces and then I try to figure out how I'm going to put them together to make an interesting piece of art.
Your studio must be very eclectic there.
It is. That's what I like to call it.
And then where have you seen like some of your art displayed? Because I can see it in a garden. This is a wonderful space to kind of give us inspiration, but where have you seen some of your pieces?
It could be outdoors or indoors, but one of the most interesting is somebody had put it inside of a gate, and so it was built into the gate. I also had somebody who had a barn door built for inside their house, and they installed it inside the barn door. Wow. as just so that there would be light coming through. So
that is neat. And really, she's in the edible garden here at the Oregon Garden, and so to see it in this space, I think it really does give us some ideas where we can hang the pieces, the windows, or just put these whimsical stakes, or even there's bells.
That's correct. I take bottles and I cut the bottom off and make them into bells, and they make beautiful sound. Use recycled pieces inside the bell. Just a lot of fun.
I bet, it shows. Well, you know, Judy is just one of the artists here, so I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, and he's going to interview another artist.
So I'm here with Kay Sims, and we have an amazing selection of really some cool metal pieces in the garden. So Kay, we're looking at this one here that has all sorts of different fun stuff. So where do you get your inspiration to do pieces like this?
Well, I visit a lot of scrap yards and I use mostly recycled materials in my work, and this one is made out of stuff in my shop that I needed to clean up and junk pile stuff that I just had around, and like I have these shapes and things that are cut out of other projects that I just kind of wanted to reuse instead of throwing away.
Which is, a fun way to kind of, recycle and reuse some of these pieces,
Yeah.
And another one that kind of stands out are these really cool like eyeballs in this one. And you're saying you make these eyeballs, right?
Yeah, they're made out of resin. They're like cast resin, and then I made the metal shape around them, and been experimenting with these and some other sculptures and pieces that I've made recently.
And all of these pieces that you're cutting out, you said you're doing them by hand, right?
Right, yeah, I use a plasma cutting torch, a handheld one, to do my work, and I draw it with chalk and then cut it out. So it's a little bit different from the machined plasma cutting computer stuff that you see a lot.
Because throughout the garden in here, some of your other pieces, you have some really cool like shovel heads and wheelbarrows that have these really cool intricate patterns cut out of it. So you're doing all of those by hand.
Yeah, I'd like to find just different old tools and stuff that may be broken and kind of just put my drawings on them and see how it turns out.
Right. And so have you been doing art for a long time, or what kind of got you inspired or into doing this kind of stuff?
Well, I just kind of make things. I've always made stuff like clothing or drawings or metalwork, and I've worked as a welder for, I guess, like the past 8 years or so now, and so I wanted to kind of use those skills to see what I can make with that. And so two 3 years ago, I started doing the metal artwork and selling it at shows and things around the Portland area.
And obviously it's been very well received.
Yeah, it's great. I really liked seeing people's reaction to the stuff that comes out of my head. It's an amazing feeling that people they connect with things that are from my imagination.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so people can come down here to the Oregon Garden. You know, you have your amazing art on display, and this will be on display through the end of September. So people can come look at the art down here. They can purchase it here through the gift shop, and you're always kind of popping in and, you know, restocking and bringing new pieces in. So it's great to check back. You know, some more information on the art festival down here at the Oregon Garden. You can go to their website, or you can go to gardentime.tv, and we'll click you on over to the site. So Kay, you have some great pieces. It's been fun to meet you and see your art in the garden.
Thank you.
Many of us have wooden fences, and you might have a wiggly fence post. Well, there is a cool product. It's called the sturdy fence post bracket, and I'm with the inventor, Chuck. And Chuck, this is an amazing product, so tell us a little bit about it.
A little bit about it. We invented this because we didn't want to pull out the 80-pound concrete ball that's buried in there, and this just allows you to install a bracket that'll give you another 15, 20 years life on your fence. And because there's nothing wrong with the fence post, it's just around the bottom that gets loose.
And so do we need a lot of supplies for that?
Actually, it's so simple. You can use a post hole digger or borrow one from your neighbor and let them explain how it works. And then the sturdy fence post bracket, 3 lag screws, and a 60-pound bag of concrete, stir stick, a level, a cord, and a drill. That's all you need.
That is pretty easy, and we're going to actually show you all the steps to install this fence post, and we're going to be back in just a few minutes. So let's get at it.
Okay.
Chuck, that was incredibly easy. So if you can just run us through the steps a little bit, that'd be great. What's going on?
Real quick, dig a hole 6 inches away from the post, dig it 19 inches deep, attach the bracket to the post, fill the hole 1/3 full of water, add 3/4 of a bag of concrete mix, stir it up, add the rest of it, level this. You've got everything done. Like I say, 77, half hour. It's not bad.
And even Barb, the homeowner, came in and helped dig the hole. So it's just really easy. It's an easy project, and it really, any time of the year you can do this.
Yes, anytime. I've done it in the winter. The nice thing about the sturdy fence post bracket, it is powder coated, and if you want to, my sister has a white fence, so we spray painted the bracket white, and it just blends right in. So whatever color you want to choose, or it's a beautiful brown.
There you go. And then where can we find it?
We have these available at all PAR locations throughout Oregon and Washington. Park Rose Hardware, everywhere you go, and then select Ace Hardware stores.
Well, you know, it's really an easy project if you have that problem of a really wobbly fence post. So please go to gardentime.tv. We'll have all the links to get that fence post, sturdy fence post, for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming out, Judy.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
So for the parts of your life that just can't stop, it's essential to keep moving forward safely. And now it's easier than ever to own a brand new Subaru from Capital. Not only can you shop hundreds of Subarus online and get questions answered instantly, but now you can test drive, finance, and even complete your purchase all from the comfort of your home. So keep planning for the future. We'll be here to help make the road ahead just a little bit smoother. Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Well, today I'm out here with Fabio. We're out at Sugawa Nursery up in Woodland. And Fabio, we're talking bonsai.
Yes.
So what is a bonsai?
Bonsai is a tree that that lives in a pot, in a container, in a tray, or in a pot.
Okay. And is it, characteristic with a certain shape or type of tree, or?
No, it doesn't have a shape for itself. The shape is created by us. It's a living sculpture.
Okay. Now there's, you see lots of different types of bonsai around, different types of plants. So there are certain plants that do better than others for
Yes,
bonsai?
you look for woody species. You don't want to develop something that doesn't develop woody, like tree, truly.
Okay.
Tree or bushes are the best species for bonsai.
Right. Now,
And we look for plants that don't have long, big, huge leaves, usually small leaves like conifer, or some deciduous too, or even tropicals, but not big leaf plants.
you hear a lot of dwarf plants. Does it necessarily have to be a dwarf plant to be a
It's
bonsai?
the opposite. You want plants that are not dwarf.
Okay.
If they're dwarf, they're gonna grow too slow. Actually, we dwarf them. They're not dwarf because they are dwarf species. Bonsai is the opposite. You dwarf them. It's like a haircut.
Okay.
You
right.
make it the size that you want.
Because if it's truly dwarf, then you're not doing anything. to
Exactly.
prune it.
Exactly.
And that's where
No.
you're going to accentuate and get this different
Exactly.
shape.
You wanna get a huge species like a ponderosa pine or a Douglas fir or a sequoia, and you wanna dwarf it. That's the beauty of it.
Okay. Now, is there certain things when you're going to pick out a tree or a shrub that you're going to bonsai? Do you want to look for certain characteristics as far as its trunk or its shape, or are you pretty much creating everything from scratch?
You can develop bonsai from seedling. You can develop bonsai from a nursery stock. You can develop bonsai by finding a dwarf tree out in the nature if you
Okay.
have the permit to get it. In some states, it's
Right.
permitted. What you look for is some characteristics of being dwarf already.
Okay.
But if you don't have this, you totally create this
Good.
from initial state, like even from a seed, you develop a dwarf
Okay.
tree.
So then, once you have a plant, picked out that you're going to use, what kind of tools or what do you need to use to turn that into a bonsai?
Yeah.
Because there's a couple different tools here. That
Yes, we have
you've brought
some
up.
specific tools in the bonsai world. We have this plier.
there, okay.
That's also it's a concave cut. So when you cut a branch, the callus that it comes later doesn't become. You don't have that little that bump, that kind of swallow tissue that's gonna look ugly. So this is a very specific tool made for the world bonsai. That's a specific scissor too, also known as ikebana scissor. It's used for roots and for branches too. But what you really need this is after you're really transforming trees, you're really dwarfing trees.
Okay.
One thing is to create a bonsai, to dwarf a tree. The other thing is just to maintain a tree. You buy a bonsai, done bonsai or not, and you just maintain it alive.
Right, because you have a great selection out here of lots of little starters that people
Yes.
can purchase.
Yes.
On up to some smaller size pots, on up to the finished product. Now you have these are the same plant. Time-wise, how much time has gone by between something like this size to that size?
Exactly. Actually, you can have some very old trees, very small. The difference here is the standard of sizes, that we have several standards of size. But this is a good example because this is truly a younger bonsai, and this is a much older bonsai. So it's the same species, and it might be, person might come and find, oh, this is too expensive, but it's not that it's expensive. It took decades and decades to create this. But sometimes you have a smaller one that took a long time. If you allow it to receive the correct amount of sun, and if you give it the right amount of water, it can be alive for many, many years. And then the other techniques, if you wanted to develop, if you want to learn how to prune and maintain, and this, you have years to learn.
Gotcha. And so so people can come up here to the nursery. You have obviously a wealth of knowledge and a knowledgeable staff.
Thank you.
You have all of the the materials and supplies that somebody would need from the beginner on up to the expert. So, you know, you can come up to the nursery for all this information. You guys do classes.
Yes.
You know, there are some protocols now as far as, you know, we're wearing masks.
Exactly.
And, you know, and that's changing all the time.
Yes, and the classes will be back as soon as we can. For now, we're waiting on being responsible. But I think that people should take advantage of we have such a great climate in the Northwest. People all over the United States are coming to this area because it's the best place in the United States to do bonsai. And the ones who are interested in, they should take advantage of living in the Northwest.
Right.
For bonsai, it's just fantastic.
Great. You know, so you can come up here to Sagawa Nursery, you can get all the supplies, a wealth of knowledge and information. You know, make sure you check out either their Facebook page or their website for, you know, their most recent protocols that seem to be changing all the time. So, you know, go to gardentime.tv and we can click you over to their page. So it's been a pleasure being out here talking with you and learning all about bonsai.
Thank you very much.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Do you want to be green? Do the easy stuff first. Hi, I'm Sarah from Portland Nursery. The U.S. House Energy and Commerce Committee says for every $1 spent on a shade tree, you can save $5 on cooling, blocking the penetrating heat in the summer and allowing the warm rays through in the winter. Dollar for dollar, there's no better energy and money saver than a good, deciduous shade tree. Portland Nursery's professionals can help you make the perfect selection. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
You can use water wisely this summer with these simple tips. Periodically, check your watering system to make sure it is working correctly. Tighten hose connections and adjust sprinklers to water plants and not the pavement. Give your lawn and garden a deep soak twice weekly instead of watering daily. Skip the fertilizer until the fall and mow your lawn less often. Taller grass holds moisture in longer between waterings. Get more water-wise gardening tips at regionalh2o.org.
Well, it's berry season and we're out at Smith Berry Barn and we are making jam today. What kind of jam are we making?
We're making blueberry jam today. This is the perfect time for blueberries. They're super abundant and they are falling off the bushes. Super easy to pick.
And so you're prepping the berries now. It looks like you're doing mashing them.
So while we're talking, I'm just going to keep mashing. Our goal is 4 cups of mashed berries.
Okay.
But what we're using today is we're using Pomona's pectin, which is a citrus-based pectin that's all natural. And what's really nice about it is it allows you to make your jam with as little or as much sugar as you would like, or sugar alternatives.
Which is nice, because I find myself after a while, it's like I don't like the idea of having that much sugar in a jam, so I like it a little bit more natural.
Yep, and so we can make this jam with honey. We can make it with sugar substitutes like Splenda. You can actually make it with fruit juice like apple juice. Today we're actually going to use sugar, but we're going to use the lowest amount of sugar that they recommend.
Which is nice. And then you guys are you're a no spray farm, so you're starting out with this a great natural berry to start with.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour our 4 cups of mashed berries into the pan. And if you would like to put the lemon juice in, we're going to add a little bit of lemon juice.
And are you using fresh squeezed lemons?
Fresh squeezed lemons. And then the trick to this Pomona's is we have a citrus-based pectin, which is here already in our sugar, and you can actually stir that while we're talking.
And that's the darker colored,
yep.
and that's the... Okay.
Exactly. And then I have in this jar the calcium that I've mixed with water. You want to make sure you do that ahead of time as per the directions.
And then what is the calcium doing?
So the calcium is going to help the jam to gel, and that's why we don't need to use as much sugar. This is acting as our gelling agent. So we have our calcium water, and then we're actually going to start cooking this on the stove, get it heated up. We're going to stir in our sugar, and then we only need to cook it for about 1 minute on a boil before we then turn it into the jars to make our jam.
Oh, great. So we'll head on over to the stove and we'll show you how we cook up our jam.
We just want to make sure that we're incorporating that calcium water and the lemon juice in with the berries. And then we want to add that sugar pectin mixture. It's important to mix the pectin in with the sugar so that you don't get clumps of pectin.
So now that we have everything cooking, which was super fast, and now we need to put them in the jars, right?
Yep, so we boiled for 1 minute, and we have our little canning, handy dandy canning funnel. I would definitely recommend one of these. And then
you just kind of ladle that in there.
Ladle it in. I couldn't remember the word for ladle. Thank you.
And then you fill it up right to the top. And
Yep, we leave a little bit of space at the top for air. And move on to our next one. And I'll just do one more. And then if you have not canned before, I would definitely recommend getting onto the national website for national preservation. It's really, really easy. But basically we need to wipe the rims, and I'm not going to do it right now. I'm just going to pretend, but you know, you'd put your lid on, tighten this, and then we're going to do a water bath for about 10 minutes. And so that would be your finished.
And then that's going to seal it all up and
exactly.
help preserve it.
Yep.
So, well, Joanna, it's been a pleasure to come out and cook with you today. You know, it's exciting to be able to see, you know, the fruits of this that you can enjoy for a long time to come, you know, have your harvest.
It's so quick to make berry jam that even if it's hot, it's not going to heat up your kitchen too much. And you can do this with freezer jam. You can make freezer jam as well. So if you're looking for a little bit, you know, fresher taste to your jam, or you don't want to, you know, be cooking in your kitchen, you can definitely make freezer jam
and
out
experiment
of this.
with different berries and different types. So, you know, do some small batch.
Exactly.
So, you know, so come on out to Smith Berry Barns. You can get the berries, you can get the pectin, and go home and make as many batches of jam as you want.
Yep.
So thanks for having us out here.
Thank you.
For our tip of the week, we're talking about watering your plants when it's very hot outside or you're gone for a few days.
What we've done is taken a metal trough, or you could use a bucket or even a kiddie pool. Fill it with a few inches of water, set your plants inside, and they'll stay hydrated while you're gone or during those hot days. And that is our tip of the week.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
This year, many of us are staying home, we're enjoying our gardens, enjoying our landscape, but maybe you need a little bit of a refit on that. Well, I'm with Rick Naylor from Visualscaping, and so Rick, Visualscaping is just a little bit different kind of a landscaping.
Absolutely, it is. It's all visual. For example, instead of drawing up a plan and charging for the plan with a bunch of numbers and the plant material on it, you have to go to the internet, look it up. It's color enhanced, it's not even the same plant, whatever. This is all visual. So basically what would happen is we bring the plants out to your yard and set them out so you can actually see what you're getting before they go in the ground.
That is great, because most of us are visual. We want to see it there in our garden and see if we like it. So what is the first step when you meet a new client?
The first step is they'll call me and I'll come out and take a look. If they want hardscape, then what we'll do is we'll actually go down to where there's display area and look at all the different displays, different pavers, different colors, different things, so they can actually see them and see what colors are going to work best for them. If it's plant material, I'll look at the soil conditions, the light conditions, a lot of things that are going on in the yard, talk to them about it, see what they want, and then have them come out to the nursery. We'll walk through, I'll show them the plant material that I'm thinking about using and my suggestions, and then they'll interject some of the things that they really like. We'll sit down and talk about whether that plant's going to work or not, and then incorporate that all into a plan. And then we'll bring all the plants out to the yard, we'll set them all out, we'll stand there and look at it and decide what we need to change, what we don't need to change, and we go through that process until it looks just the way we want it to do, and then we stick them in the ground.
Wow, you know, that is just so different. I mean, it's so different than other ideas there with design. And then I know that in the past we've talked about it, you really are an advocate for 4 seasons of color, 4 seasons of interest.
Absolutely, absolutely. Should always be a mix. so that your yard looks just as good in the middle of January as it does in June. So yeah, I mean, and there are some plants that we use that change color with the season, which is important because then you don't get bored. It kind of evolves. So.
And then do you plan for the future? Do you kind of, you cram everything in so it looks like it's finished and how it's going to look in 20 years? Or do you allow space so it can grow into that space?
Absolutely. We like I tell everybody that my clients that I talk to is we're looking at a 15 to 20 year garden. We don't want to put a bunch of stuff in there that 2 years from now you have to start ripping it out because you're just renting the plant, you're not buying it. So that's a very important part of it also, is leaving room for growth. It also allows them to put annuals or whatever they want to do in those spaces where there's a little bit of space so that they can fill that during the seasonal part of the year and still have their foundation plants there for the rest of the time.
You know, it's such an interactive choice, you know, and it's nice that you allow that and then you give the person a voice because they're going to be living with that space.
Oh, absolutely. And that's another thing I always talk to my clients about. It's your yard, not mine. Right. So I'll give you all the advice and do the best job I can for you, but in the long run, it's your yard, so you need to put your touch on it also.
Right. So Rick, when you do go to a new landscape, do you just tear out everything and just start fresh, or do you work with that landscape?
No, not at all. We'll work with the existing landscape as much as we can. Whatever plants make sense to keep, then we'll keep. It's not, you know, sometimes we'll go into a total overhaul, but majority of the time it's just working with what's already there, and you know, using plant material that helps enhance the other plant around it. So for example, if you've got a Japanese maple or something that's a certain color, using plants around it that will help that Japanese maple stand out, and also the companion plants that go with it, is important.
Yeah, and so when we've come to see you, should we bring any kind of materials with us? Should we need to be prepared as a client?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people come into the nursery and they'll bring me pictures or videos of their yard or the spot that they want to take care of, and then we'll offer some advice. I mean, it's always good to let us know if it's a sun or shade spot or whatever, and if you can have an idea kind of what your soil conditions are like. But no, a lot of times we'll just lay things out in the parking lot here and work with the customer to get the exact kind of look they want, and that way they get professional advice without having to pay for it. So.
Well, it is wonderful professional advice and really design advice, which I think all of us need. If this is something that you would love to have at your home, please go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to their Facebook page and you can find out how to contact Rick and Visualscaping. Thanks so much, Rick.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching Garden Time today. And if you do go to your favorite local garden center, be patient, be kind. We're all in this together, and wear a mask.
And for more information on today's show or any of our other episodes, go to gardentime.tv.
Hey Ryan, why don't you play us on out?
Parts of this episode of Garden Time were recorded before COVID-19 and social distancing requirements. The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.